Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag love coffee. Hashtag caffeine withdrawals.
With that said, hello and welcome to the stream, everybody. I am Jackhammer AZ. I know we've been a bit quiet recently, just due to scheduling conflicts, people getting sick, me getting swamped with other stuff to do. But with that said, we are back. We are continuing Fireside Stories. As a bit of housekeeping, a quick announcement. One of our party members, being played by Wade, who is playing Dorian, he has decided to leave the show and is wanting to pursue other creative endeavors, and I wish him the best of luck. But so Wade will no longer be a part of Fireside Stories, but we will be continuing to have everyone else. With that said, let's introduce everybody else again. In case you've forgotten, we'll start right here.
I'm Jesse, I'm playing Jube, the Blood Rager.
I am John, also known as Refractal Studios on Twitch, and I am playing as Abner the Druid.
My name's Alex. I play Viz, the halfling rogue that sometimes a little mischievous.
Just sometimes.
just
Every now and then.
gets
On
into
occasion.
trouble a few times.
Occasionally. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right in because we left on a bit of a cliffhanger. So, as a brief recap, the party returned to the village of Hanlem after going a bit off the beaten path. But they returned to the village of Hanlem, where once there, they informed Lord Aemon that they were unable to secure a force to assist them. However, they did make contact with the Order of Shadows. Furthermore, since they weren't able to secure immediate help, the Lord went ahead and informed them of what the plan was to deal with the goblin threat that is now possibly damaging the city, or might damage the town. So the plan was to collapse the tunnel to, at the very least, delay the goblin force, or completely deter them, where they basically become discouraged to the point of, it's not worth fighting into, or breaking through all this rock to get to them. So the plan was that the party, along with a few of the town guard, would basically establish a forward holding position while the sappers could go in and plant the charges to collapse the tunnel. But like in D&D, like in all D&D, nothing ever goes according to plan. So before the operation came to the starting time, the party decided, hey, let's do some recon to see if we can get an idea on numbers of the enemy forces. Once in the tunnel doing recon, both Viz and Dorian took the lead, since they both have dark vision, and got to the outskirts of the camp looking at the numbers. Got a few numbers, but there's a larger camp that they weren't really able to get much of vision into without exposing themselves. So with that said, Viz started to run back to the party to inform them of what they are seeing. When suddenly a gunshot rang out as Dorian opened fire on the goblin horde, and we shall see how it progresses. So,
I hope he does.
with that said, we are back. We are in the tunnel as Viz is running back. As he's running up towards Jube, who is trying to fumble his way through the cave without torchlight. You both hear a gunshot ring out, and the same goes for Abner, but he is at the entrance of the tunnel with the guards that are there guarding the entrance, along with Eleonora, who has asked to participate in the operation. So both of you see him. You don't see him, but you hear footsteps. What do you do?
Shoot.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
That sounded. It's like, I just heard a gunshot. How's it going, man?
What's up, bro?
So, obviously Doran did something real stupid.
I don't know where you are, but...
I grab you, and I'm like grabbing your leg, because I'm so...
It's he's wearing like shorts, that type of thing.
Yeah.
You just kind of like grab the pant leg of it.
I'm just like, hello.
Well, you're lucky I didn't kill you.
What? I'm saving your life. Let's go this
He must
way.
be really jumpy in the dark.
All right, let's go.
All right.
So we start heading towards Abner.
Yeah, so when I hear the gunshot, I cast light on into my staff and prep it as a weapon, basically.
Okay. And since you're at the entrance, you can see the guards also hear the gunshot because it echoes through a cave, and I mean, a gun is loud. You're going to hear it, especially if it's in a cave echoing. So they hear it, and immediately they are, get your weapons, prepare. I don't know what just happened in there, but we might be getting company. You, Erickson, launch a signal flare so that the town knows what's going on. Everybody, get your shields, get your spears, get ready. And so they're all in a frenzy, grabbing their gear. One person grabs an arrow and lights the arrowhead of flame and fires it into the air. And then everyone else is getting ready as you run in. You are obvious. You see the light from Abner and are able to get to him quickly. And yeah, you are all there.
What do we do with
And you notice that Dorian is not there.
Alright, so that idiot, right?
Dorian.
Alright, this is what happened, right? We went in there, right? There was about a couple, probably 3 or 4 of them we saw. We saw some, like, wolves. We saw a few things. I have a feeling there was more of them, for sure. We couldn't really get a good sight on numbers. But, I told Doran that I would go back and find you guys. He took that as an opportunity to attack, as you all heard.
And at this point, you hear another gunshot ring out. And you start to hear shouting. It's not in common. It's not a language that you understand. But you recognize the shouting as goblins shouting.
Hey guys,
shoot?
I really have an idea right here, and I think it's that we should fall back and get some support. But this is my opinion.
You begin to hear steel clashing against steel.
Even for dead.
Well,
This was a scouting mission. We need to fall back to our main battle.
Yeah. I mean, it's on him that he
nice,
shot.
nice knowing you, Dorian.
I mean, if he can fight his way back, he can fight his way back, and we'll support him.
Yeah, if he has to retreat,
Yeah.
hopefully he finds a way to fall back. But
All right.
so I guess we kind of fall back.
Fall back to the entrance.
Yep, I guess
Yeah,
so.
to the main battle line, basically.
Okay. As you fall back to the entrance, as you get to the entrance, you see a shield wall in front. Shield wall of the 6 guards that were there, having their shields out in front and their spears just over the shield. Sort of like picture like ancient Greeks, like hoplites and stuff.
Like Roman soldiers.
Roman soldiers use swords more, but
Swords.
they have spears and shields, and they're basically forming a wall with the spears. And as you come out, the main guard that you were talking to goes, "What the hell happened in there? Get behind the line."
Yeah, about that. Let me tell you about it later over spaghetti.
I have no idea what spaghetti is, but as I said, get behind the line. And at this point, the sound of steel ringing against steel has stopped.
Oh gosh.
Oh shoot.
But you begin to hear. Otherwise, you would recognize these as drums beginning to beat.
So we have no idea what's happening, except for that fact that is typically the sign of an army approaching.
Which means we should be prepared.
Yeah.
Oh,
So how many of those? How much of the dynamite or the bomb explosive have we set up?
None.
We've set up none of it.
They're all at
It's
the
still
town.
a couple hours away, right?
Yeah, the operation was to go off. It was set to commence 4 hours from now. So
Okay.
the bombs are still being prepared by the blacksmith.
well, looks
Abner,
like
is there any way we can do any sort of wall to slow them down?
I mean, we had just that small makeshift, like, fire barrier, but that was going down the wrong way in the fork.
Yeah.
let's
do you
just
think
see what happens.
How many?
what's generally near the entrance of the cave? Is there like any bushes, any trees, any,
It's
cliffs?
there. So it's a bit. The cave entrance is in a cliff face, or it's not really a cliff face. It's like part of a hill, but there's kind of a steep drop off where the entrance to the cave is, and it is a fairly natural choke point. Where the town had or where the troops had already set up some wooden palisades, like with spikes pointing at the entrance, to try to basically, if the initial line of defense fell, they could fall back to that and have some natural cover as well.
Well, let's just see what happens and wait and defend.
So,
Well, that's my
That's
plan.
easy for you.
not to be too specific, but is there generally plant life kind of covering that area at all that I could tap into some of my druidic powers with?
There are. It is more of a grassy hill. It's more the grassy hill area of it. It's this side of the town is more used as farmland.
Okay.
So it's on the western side of the town is the forest. On the eastern side is kind of the rolling grasslands for farming. And there, yeah, you're on the east, and then there is a river, but it's not really close enough to
Are
make
there
it.
any big like rocks or something?
There by the cave entrance there are some boulders, but they aren't like it would be like as big as like your chest type of thing. Like they aren't like huge rocks or
You
anything.
try to stand on top and clock them on the head as they come through.
I was gonna try that. Yeah.
You should tell the general of the operation that we know for sure that there are wolves and goblins involved.
All right.
One of the guard that was there. Well, of course there are goblins involved. I already know there are goblins involved. We've been fighting
Wolves,
goblins.
Man. There's wolves.
Well,
That's helpful to know.
we can't do anything, but we just defend right now, I guess.
I hide. I'm just kidding.
I guess I do a perception check to see if I can tell if any of them are coming,
Okay, go ahead.
other than just the general drums.
Well, it's all the same. I got a 7.
Yeah. Can I do a perception
18
check?
plus.
I just got an 8 plus, what's the modifier again?
It would be your wisdom, and then whatever your perception bonus is.
Okay.
25.
15.
Wisdom. Alright, we got to go to my perception modifier. Cool. It's going to be
We're rusty guys. Just,
Yeah.
it'll take a little
Sorry.
bit of time.
14.
Okay. You do see that there are lights at the end. Like if you take a quick peek inside the tunnel to see, and you see far down the tunnel there is light emanating from there. Abner, you see the light, but you also you still hear the war drums going, and you hear the sound of marching. Like not like, oh, this army, it's huge, but you do hear the sound of like a force organizing, preparing to move forward.
Okay.
We have 6 guards and 3 of us.
I mean,
Are you already forgetting me? Says Eleanor.
Oh, and plus 4.
apparently so. So yeah, I think it's almost guaranteed that there's going to be some sort of retaliation. So we need to be as ready as possible.
Yeah.
Alright, guys.
I've done damage in the past, but I think I'll leave this one to you guys. I'm
So you're just
kidding,
gonna
guys.
chill in the
No,
back
I'm just
and-
kidding. Gosh, I'm here to unsheath my
Alright.
my daggers.
I'm gonna
Alright.
go rage mode right now.
As
Oh, he's rage monster.
So just as a heads up, for rage, it doesn't last very long. Where it's the sort of thing that you want to rage once the fight has
Oh,
begun.
duh.
It's your rage.
Go Super Saiyan.
It's your
I'll wait.
rage only lasts a maximum, I think for you it's 6 turns, which is about a little over 30 seconds. But if you rage and don't go into combat, your rage dissipates.
Alright, well,
So-
I'm gonna calm down.
Yeah, dude.
Take a chill
You're
pill.
like, oh wait, no.
I'm gonna calm
Stay
down.
focused.
Saiyan blood is not fully.
Go to your happy place. Go to your happy place.
I'm calming down, guys.
And then,
Oh.
all right. So the guard goes, the main guard All right, people. Shield wall formation. We're gonna let a few people. We're gonna do our best to let a few people let a few of them pass, where then you can handle them while we keep the wall firm.
I think that's a great idea.
I'll stand in front. Great sword.
You're wanting to stand in front of the shield wall, or
Am I in a position where like I
Yeah.
could cast spells over like the shoulders of the guards as they come at us?
not easily. They're purposefully trying to crowd the entrance. They're purposely trying to bottleneck the entrance as much as possible. They're trying to get essentially a concave on the
bottleneck
entrance.
is kind of what I want.
All right, then I'll stay
I mean,
behind it.
I mean, with it, if you want, you can position yourself so that when they open the wall, to let a few through, you then have a line of sight into the bottleneck.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Because I'm pretty sure I know what you're planning on doing. So
These hands are burning.
yeah, it's essentially their plan is I mean, the shields that they have, they're meant for like. They are not meant for going on offense. They are like tower shield. They are meant for defense. So they're like
way
planted.
taller than the goblins they were fighting.
Yeah, essentially. They will be protected from arrows. Like it's the sort of thing. It's like unless they have something to break through the shield, they aren't going to be getting through
That big
the shield.
troll probably.
And so the plan is they're basically going to be using their spears, jabbing at them, keeping them at bay, and then the two in the center are going to part, let some through, and then shove back forward and close the gap.
Sounds good.
So,
Alright.
about
Do we know what happens, Dora?
not yet.
Okay.
I mean, you haven't seen them, so
Dorian.
about 2 minutes pass, and you hear the bell from the town begin to ring, as if yes, they received they saw the message of, oh crap, a signal flare just went up at the cave entrance, we need to get going now, type of thing. And the guards that are standing firm, I see movement in the cave. And what they did was they took during this short amount of time, they took a few torches and threw them into the entrance of the cave to illuminate like the immediate vicinity of the entrance, so that to hopefully make it so that
So we can actually see in there.
Yeah, exactly. I see movement at the edge. That person's, I don't know, that thing's taller than a goblin. And I mean, right now they're obscuring your view. If you want, you can try to get a view.
All right, yeah. What, perception?
Tiptoes?
Acrobatics?
I would say roll perception, and it's going to be at a -2. So, add up everything you want, and then subtract 2 from that roll.
Acrobatics too, for me probably.
No, I would say it's still perception. It would be
10.
like you're trying to look like through one of the little gaps in the shield.
10.
12.
24.
24. Okay.
I'm gonna roll super high percepting everything, and then I'm gonna.
And then combat starts, and you're
during
just
the fight.
nothing. You see a goblinoid figure who is he's not as tall as like you and Juke, but he's about 4.5 feet tall when your standard goblin is about halfling size, which is about 3 feet at the most. And he's dragging a rope behind him. And the rope, you follow the line of the rope back, and you see a dwarf stripped down to just a loincloth being dragged behind him, bleeding from multiple wounds and unconscious.
Oh, wait, you all see him or him?
Abner sees it, and as he's moving forward with that, like the guards are talking as well. So you begin to realize, you begin to put 2 and 2 together. It's like, okay, there's a bigger guy dragging a humanoid that looks like a door. Oh God, type of thing.
Dorian. Oh gosh, I'm about to rage.
The soldiers maintain formation. We can't help him. Maintain formation. Do not break the wall. Is there anything you want to say, or just keep?
Oh man. How far is the thing? Is it close by?
It's like at the edge of the torchlight, so it's about like 50 feet or so into the
50
tunnel.
feet. Okay, never mind. It's gonna run and jump and just jump at it.
For the time being, I just maintain intense eye contact with the person holding the rope.
Okay. The person holding the rope stops walking forward in the torchlight and basically stopped once people started. Oh, there's someone there. Here, prepare a weapon. You know, all that. He stops and he finishes dragging Dorian forward and pulls it so that he's like at his feet. And he goes, "Pathetic humans.
What's the general distance?
It's about 50 feet.
Okay.
Your time has come to an end. It is time for the darkness to rise." And he then grabs Dorian by the head and pulls him up. And from your look, it's not like he's straining to pull him up. It's just like pulls him up and is holding him by like the hair on his head, and he is suspended in the air at this point. And he pulls out a sword. Is there anything you want to do?
I have no arrows. I have nothing.
If I have an angle, I try to cast Firebolt past the guards at the guy.
You would be able to take a shot, but you'd be taking it at penalty. Because it's one of those. It's an awkward angle.
It's one of those things where it's not that
How many
advantageous,
daggers
but
do you
I think
have,
it's within
Alex?
character to take the shot.
Okay.
How many daggers do you have?
Hold on.
So I forget, is that my
I might throw one.
wisdom modifier? I'm trying to remember what it is for Firebolt.
Yeah.
Attack.
Your wisdom
So I have 5 kitchen knives.
plus whatever your
Give me
spell
a kitchen
combat is.
knife. That's
I
good.
hand you
That'll be on the
kitchen
spell
knife.
page.
I think so.
Give me that.
It'll either be on that or on the main page.
I want to just tuck a kitchen knife at his head.
Spell
Hope I hit something.
I have 4 kitchen knives.
I have a great axe, but I don't think I can throw it that far.
Don't throw your great axe.
I don't see spell combat, but other than that, it's
Then
7.
just add your base attack
Alright, give me
bonus.
that. Alright, I'm gonna throw this and see if I can get him.
I think your
Yeah,
base
it's-
attack is like maybe 1.
Then be 9.
Okay. Let me check this real quick. I think the dagger might be out of range.
Probably. But I
Yeah,
have
the
a lot
range
of
the
strength.
range for throwing a dagger is 10 feet.
Oh my gosh.
I think there are perks you can get later on that make it longer, but
Never mind. I just realized I'm not that strong.
you take a knife and you're just like, I can't reach that. Damn. So you fire the firebolt as it streaks into the cave. It unfortunately, due to the shields of the guard, you weren't able to quite get the angle as it streaks by his face, where you see it illuminate his face. Where he's a goblin, but he has more human-like features to him. And as the bolt goes down the cave, you just see more and more beating red eyes as the bolt goes past and then dissipates.
Crap.
Even now you try to save your friends. Takes the sword. The body falls to the ground
Oh my gosh.
while still holding the head.
Well, guys.
I basically, as he does that, I shout, "These caves shall be purged!"
And I fall on my knees. Dorian!
And I go, Vatican? I'm just kidding. That would make me totally evil. No, I don't say that. I say nothing. I just kind of go like
Alright.
this.
All right. Throws the head at the guards, and you hear as it hits the shield, and then falls and rolls onto the ground. Then, looking at the goblin, he goes, Now, darkness comes. Attack them! And suddenly, a surge of goblins behind him just begin to run straight for the entrance. And the guards go, brace! Brace! As then, boom! The goblins hit the shields, and they're in their, there's a visible, like, getting knocked back slightly, but then pushing back forward, jabbing with their spears, attempting to get a few hits in. They're able to hold. They're able to hold, and the guard goes, "Ready, ready, open!" And the two in the center part ways as.
Alright, guys.
And as they do that, can I have a ready thing that I do?
Sure.
So I can do with a 15-foot cone-shaped burst. I can use Burning Hands to do like a cone of fire as they start to funnel in.
Okay.
Dang.
To get it where you would not hit the guards, you will be you will be close, where you're basically going to be at the front. I mean, Jube, you can also be standing there because you're just like, bring him on, type of thing.
I'm ready to get angry any second now.
But-
Alrighty,
so it parts, and as
Seems fitting.
for now.
as goblins begin to pour through, our arcane energy begins to coalesce in your hands. As then you reach them out, and gouts of flame shoot forth from your hands into the force as they're trying to pour through. Go ahead and
So it's according to this, it's 1d4 per level,
I believe it's 1d4
and then reflex half save.
Yeah.
So do I roll once and then multiply by level, or do I roll once per?
Roll once and multiply by the level, and then I'm gonna roll reflex saves for the goblins.
No one.
That's one.
Does it say what your spell DC is?
13.
13? Okay.
So I'm level 3 currently, correct? So 6 damage.
Okay. Okay, so
So all of them or just
A
one?
15-foot cone. Anybody gets touched by it? They have a chance of dodging and taking half damage.
yeah, you're gonna hit 5 goblins with that cone.
Oh gosh.
Let's see.
Not a bad start.
First one passes barely. Next one fails. Passes. Fails. Fails. So 2 pass.
First level.
You take one, I take one.
There's 5 of them.
Well, we don't know how much. I don't know. He might have killed 4 of them, or 3 of them.
I'll take 1 or 2.
I can kill those things in one swipe.
You'll take however many aren't looking.
Yep. I'm gonna sneak.
I can kill those things in one swipe. So
I can.
I'm gonna go for that humanoid thing. That's my first target.
And with that said, let's go ahead and roll initiative.
Oh dang.
10.
Solid 3.
12.
With
It's
my
like 5.
bonus.
Oh wait, 11. Sorry.
8. I told you I was gonna start rolling bad as soon as the fight started.
I got a 11, guys. I need more armor.
My armor isn't that good either.
Mine's 15.
Mine is 12.
Mine's 17.
Yeah, his is way better than mine.
Ooh, fancy.
That's my AC, right?
Yeah,
Oh, wait, hold on. Where's my AC at?
right there.
Oh, it's 13. I was looking at that. I'm 13.
Okay, sorry. Say the initiatives again.
11.
5.
8.
Okay. First up is one of the goblins. As he pours through, he has a short, crude-looking spear. As he runs through, you can see the flesh on his arm is not completely burned off, but pretty badly burned. And he's just snarling, and he's gonna take a stab at Abner for just
Okay.
burning all of his beautiful skin off.
This green.
It wasn't that
ugly
beautiful to begin
skin.
with.
And that is a 10, so that's a miss.
Correct. Almost hit, but
The next goblin has a short sword, and is going to run forward at Jube, who's standing right next to Abner. Is going to run up, and this one is looking a lot worse. Like you can tell he didn't make the dodge, where you can see part of his face it has been seared. Like one of his eyes has been seared shut and just burned all the way through.
Uglier than ever.
And he runs at you and takes a stab. And critically fails.
Yeah.
So with like the
With his lack of depth
eyes,
perception.
with the eyes seared shut, he goes for the stab. But since he can't see out of his right side, the stab goes and actually hits one of the guards that has it. One of the guards that opened. So it hits the shield and just doesn't do any. Like it just hits the shield, kind of slides off, where he then like stumbles forward a little bit because the force from the hit happened when he wasn't expecting it. And next up is one more goblin who also has a spear and is going to, with the stumbling goblin, is going to run forward and thrust the spear over the stumbling goblin at Jube. That is a 12, which is a miss.
13. Suck.
Dang it.
I figured you had to tie or beat it.
Tie.
Okay.
So didn't get it by one. With that said, next up is Jube.
Alright, I'm gonna go after that one that tried to spear me.
So you aren't able to reach that one because there's one that stumbled in front of
Okay,
you.
the stumbling one then.
Okay.
Can I just kick it and then
Just punt him across the room.
and then bring my sword down while I kick him straight up? Or is that two?
You wouldn't be well.
He's stumbling, so I can kick
I
him
guess
up.
since you haven't moved, you can do a full round action where you can throw a kick, but it then would mean both of your attacks are harder to hit with.
Alright, then I'll just
Go for a
do
swing.
Just regular swing. I'm raging plus a power attack too. So I'm
Okay.
gonna destroy this guy.
FYI, power attack makes it harder to hit, but do more damage.
Never mind. No power
Okay.
attack.
It's basically power attack is good for against like full health opponents that you're pretty confident you can.
Because
hit.
if you connect, he's probably gonna eat it either way.
He's gonna die. I forgot. Alright, ready? Well,
Yeah,
roll.
go ahead.
14.
Okay, and
Plus your strength, I believe.
it's gonna be enough. You'd need like an additional
18.
like 2 to hit this guy.
18.
Okay, roll for damage.
Which one was that again? I don't even know. This
It's
your greatsword
it's
or your axe?
2D.
great sword.
I believe it's 2d6.
This one, right?
Yeah.
1.
And roll one more time.
You get to roll it twice.
6. So
7
6.
damage plus your strength
12.
modifier.
It
5
was a
is-
5, so 6 total.
6
for
total.
Oh, 6 total plus your strength plus an additional 2 because you're raging.
Yeah,
10, 11.
So, the goblin that stumbled forward, he like stumbled forward, and you just see, like in your rage, you just hone it, like the world around you is turning red as your rage swells inside of you. Except for there's a nice little thin amount that's not redded, and it just so happens to be right on his neck. So you just take your sword, whack, and Goblin's head falls off, and he collapses to the
You
ground
get
at
it.
your feet.
Next opponent.
Bring it on.
Where's your champion?
Next up is Abner.
Oh shoot! I forgot my thing does.
Really? Okay. Okay. So
I rolled really poor initiative. For
Yeah, I was
two
about
of
to say. I
them.
figured I'd be like going last.
No, Alex rolled worse than you.
Let's see. So I have. Are there? No, I probably shouldn't do that. So there's one engaged with me currently, right?
Correct.
And then
One's dead.
are the other ones still funneling through?
Yeah, there's one with a spear that attacked Jube, but the goblin is engaged with Jube. Jube is not engaged with the goblin because the goblin's spear reaches further.
Oh.
Okay.
But there's one with a spear at you.
Should probably get that one.
If
Yeah,
I cast a spell non-target him, does he get a free strike on me?
Yeah, he gets an attack of opportunity. You could use your.
Master Miyagi.
You
used
could.
the wood staff.
What you can do, and it's easier if we had a game table for you to visualize it. You always get you always get to move at least 5 feet, and that does not provoke an attack of opportunity. So if you, I don't know if it impacts what you're planning,
backstep.
but you can take a step back and then do whatever you're gonna do.
I guess I'll do that. So in order to help our team last a little bit longer, I'm gonna backstep the 5 feet, so I'm no longer engaged. And as I do that, I touch Jube on the shoulder, and I give him Bark Skin,
Ooh.
which gives him +2 to his AC.
Nice. So was it -1 to my AC with?
Or it grants
Courage?
+2 or higher enchantment to natural armor.
Let me check one quick thing with Bart.
What type of armor do you have? Is it like leather? Or?
Yeah, just leather. I don't even.
Okay, because if it's metal, I don't think it works.
It's just hide or whatever.
Okay. Because it says natural
+2.
armor. Yeah, he's gonna double check, but I think it gives you +2.
Yeah,
to your
+2 to your natural armor.
Natural
increases by 1 for every. Okay, so that doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
So your AC increases.
So it gives you a temporary +2 to your natural armor,
So your armor will go from 13 to 15.
and it lasts for 30 minutes. According to
And
this.
is it -1?
I have it here. It's because it's 10 minutes per level. That's why.
Okay.
I was like,
Rage
it says 10.
-1 to AC with rage, right? Or
-2.
2.
So now you're breaking even.
So I'm at 13.
Okay. I mean that's still good with all the bonuses, and you
I
also
figure he's gonna be our frontline guy. So
and also you get while raging you have an extra
get the back
6
heel,
HP.
doing all the work.
Oh.
You get an extra 2 HP per level that you are. So
I
you
have
have
38 right now.
just be careful if you go unconscious while in a rage, you then instantly take 6 damage because that's temporary health while you're raging. So thank you, Matt Rez. What happens then is Abner takes a step back, and then while in your rage, you feel a hand on your shoulder, as then you begin to feel your skin turn, begin to turn hard. It's if looking at it, it's not that it's encased in wood. It's more just like it feels sturdy, yeah, you get that. You feel like you can take a few more hits while in your mad rage. Next up is one more of the goblins who is going to fill the gap and attack Jupe since the crazy sorcerer magic person stepped back. And he's going to go for an attack. That is a 13, which would hit since you're in a rage.
Stupid.
And does this one look burned at all?
There it is. Yes, this one. This one doesn't. He got burned a bit on his arm, but he's not as bad as the one that had his head removed from his shoulders. Actually, wait, no, it's that one that got killed. So he takes a swing, and that is this one. You take 4 points of damage.
Dang it.
Next up is the last goblin of this
Wow, you're really
wave,
loud.
who is
You're just lurking in wait, just ready to
going to
snap the fool.
This one has a short sword and a shield, and he's gonna try to loop around and attack one of the guards. So he's gonna try to run past you and get at the backs of the guards.
Try to break it open.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna hit, and that's crap damage. Okay, so he loops around and takes a swing at one of the guards, and hits him in the back of the leg, where the guard's like, still gotta hold the wall though. And at this point, you get to go.
Mm-hmm. So where am I in relativity to any of these goblins?
To hide from it and stay close, you hid. We'll say that you hid behind one of the soldiers in their shield.
Yeah.
Since the shield is so big and you're a halfling, you're easily able to conceal yourself.
Yeah.
So you can see the goblin that rounded the corner and attacked one of the guards that helped open the.
Okay. So how close is he to me?
He's close enough for you to run up and attack him.
Is he like? Is his back to me?
It's more his side is to you.
Can I try a sneak attack?
Yeah.
All right. Attempt sneak attack.
It's you'd be able to because you'd be able to then
He can sidestep.
you could
behind
get
him.
behind him enough that you would then be attacking his back arc
Okay.
while he's engaged with somebody else.
So I attempt sneak attack,
Okay.
and I roll 6 plus.
It's +4 for your dexterity plus whatever your base attack bonus is.
It's like 2. Hold on. Oh, base attack. Yeah, it's 2.
So it's a 12, and he is flanked, which is another +2, so that's 14.
Yeah.
That barely hits.
Oh, man.
So
Nice.
you, as you go for the stab, you feel it scrape against the armor, where you're like, "Dang, it's not going," and then it just like, it's pretty.
It's like a rusty spot.
It's poorly made goblin armor, so it's like it's scraping, and then it finds a spot where it's able to punch through, and you feel the knife hit flesh. Go ahead and roll for damage.
D4.
Yes,
D6 cut
it's a
in half.
D6 cut in half.
That's what I thought. 2d6 is cut in half. Wait,
1d6
Oh,
cut in
1d6.
half, and then you roll for sneak attack after.
So 5.
Cut in half, that's 3.
5.
Then roll 2d6 for sneak attack, because I think it was you got the extra dice with this level up.
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll 2d6.
1. 4.
All right. Well, so that's
That's 8 total.
yeah, 8 total
He's dead.
damage.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure
So
he's
as you feel the blade go in, the goblin and collapses to the ground.
Well, guys, who's the frontliner now? Giving him armor. You're giving me armor.
You haven't been hit yet, so you don't need armor. He's the one that's been hurt.
I'm acting dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm running around.
You're just like standing over the corpse, just like dabbing or whatever.
All right, and then the last goblin, or wait, no, it's back to the top of the order. But before the top of the order, the guards are going to attempt to basically close the wall.
Okay.
So this is goblin, this is human. They both. How does that happen? I'm just gonna reroll this.
What? You can't do that.
Both the humans and the goblins critically failed trying to push past each other. I rolled ones for both of them. So we're gonna roll again because they can't push forward and they can't push them back. So we're gonna roll again. Okay. As the humans attempt to close the gap, one of the a larger goblin, not the one that you saw decapitate Dorian, but of similar build, comes charging at that center as they're closing, and boom, just shoulder checks it where it knocks one of the guards off kilter, off balance, where he staggers to the side a bit and manages to close it, but there's a larger goblin that has now gotten through, and is facing you as well as the other goblins that are there.
There's only 2 more goblins left.
2 small
There
ones.
are 3 goblins left.
There's 2 small ones and the bigger one.
No, 3 small ones, 1 big one.
Okay.
You killed 2 because you cast bark skin rather than attack.
I'm gonna go after the bigger one right
Playing
now.
the long game.
Of course you are.
I'm gonna go. You can go after
I'm
the
gonna
small one.
sneaky around everybody.
Where'd he go? what?
Yeah. Where's Viz, guys?
He just tends to do his own thing during the fight. Eventually, they all fall down dead. You know.
How close am I to the big goblin?
Am
I close enough to attack?
Be like, guys, I killed like
You
10
are,
guys.
yeah.
That fight was super easy.
You're
but where was
still,
Viz?
you're still kind of in that gap area, that they just basically closed past.
So can I attack the big goblin?
Yeah, you can make a swing at him.
Alright, I'm gonna take a swing at that. And I'm gonna do the power attack just to
Okay.
maybe get
So
it
you take a
over.
-2 to your to hit.
This is
Or
-1.
Yeah, -1. Sorry, and then it's a if you hit, you
It's
take a
plus
+2 to your damage.
Yeah.
You rolled a 2.
2.
All right. So you see him in you see him and you're in your rage. You're like, yes, a challenge, and you take a swing, but you don't see that one of the goblin spears juts forward as you're taking your swing, and it connects with your sword, basically taking your momentum out of the swing as it kind of falls to the side. Next up is this goblin who was facing.
I'm never gonna be up, okay? I'm always gonna be at the end.
Who was facing Abner, but now sees one of his brethren fall by a little halfling, and is going to run at him and attack him.
Gosh dang it.
Now you can't sneak attack.
That is an 11, which I'm pretty sure is miss.
Yeah.
So he runs at you with his spear and takes a thrust, but you see it coming a mile away, so you just easily sidestep it.
And then
Just hand against his forehead. Just.
It's a halfling. If he did that, he would then be able to like punch and then more, because halflings are short. All right, so
now it's
next up is next up is Abner.
Okay. So there's.
Oh, I realized I forgot something. Go, keep doing what you're doing.
So there's the one that ran over to fight Viz. There's the big one. Where are the other 2 small ones?
The one fighting Viz, and then there are 3 total fighting Jesse, or fighting Jude.
Can I cast like a firebolt or something without it risking hitting him, or would I need to get up close?
Out of combat, you would be able to fire.
do it
I'm
anyways.
pretty sure
If I just pick the most exposed one.
You would be able to fire at the very least at the one with the spear. I think it's actually you're able to fire at any of them. It's the way that it works is if they're entangled, which is like grappled, that type of thing.
Oh, then do it.
Let me-
I'm not entangled by
Let
anything.
me double check that.
Yeah, I'm entangled by everything.
They aren't behind cover. They aren't blind. You aren't blinded.
Go for it. Just don't hit me.
Firebolt.
Yeah,
I think that's a hit with a 17.
yeah, that's it. You don't even add
don't even add
anything
the
else
modifier.
extra.
So it's 1d6 plus.
I think it's your wisdom modifier. Or
Plus 1 point for every 2 levels I possess.
so it'd be 1d6 plus 1.
I guess.
Better get
Unless
6.
unless those round up, I'm guessing they round down. It's plus
You know
1 or
what?
plus 2.
For now, we'll say it's round up.
If it's rounding up, it's 4 damage.
Okay.
Hopefully he's dead.
Let's see. It was this goblin. Actually, it doesn't matter either way. He had 3 HP left. So rip. This is the one that actually. This is the one with the spear that blocked that messed up your swing, and you basically in your rage you look over to him like, "Rah!" and you just see his face is gone as a firebolt has gone through it, and he just collapses to the ground.
You just look at Abner like,
Nice.
Extra Christmas.
big
I
man.
think it's your turn.
Hold on.
Unless it's the goblins with the
Next
trolls.
up is the big goblin.
Oh gosh.
Big boy.
And that one's close to me.
It's gonna attack me 100%.
So the big guy,
What's gonna attack you?
Because he took a swing at him.
he's gonna attack you. He actually has a greatsword just like you.
Oh shit.
Or actually no. He's not the one with the greatsword. He's the one with he has a.
It's a kind of good sword.
Shut up. A rock falls on Abner's head. Let's see. He's the one that has the. Oh yeah, he has a longsword. That's what it was.
Longsword.
It has potential for less damage, but he's gonna take a swing at you. Wow, these dice hate me today. That's a critical fail. So
Sick.
he takes a lunge at you, and as it's coming forward, one of the other goblins kind of accidentally steps in the way, where it's not like full in the way. It's enough where the blade grinds against his shoulder, and you can see it does cut it, and that goblin does take 1 damage, but yeah, he missed. He missed his intended target.
You hit something.
Nice.
Next up is Viz.
Alright, Vince, destroy this guy.
Alright, so this guy just like trying to stab me, right?
Yep.
I'm gonna mess him up. 1 dagger,
Good luck.
straight attack.
Okay.
Oh gosh, this guy's high AC. Okay.
I mean, with your finesse training, you've got. If you hit, you'll do decent damage.
Yeah,
So.
but it's a 6 plus. I don't know what that's plus.
It's not enough, regardless.
Yeah.
So you after having dodged it, you're like, oh, you punk, and go for the stab. And as you go for the stab,
He
it
does the same thing.
yeah, pretty much. The goblin kind of sidesteps and is gonna
We are
stab
evenly
again
matched,
later.
But I have more of a brain.
Sure, we'll go with that. So next up, the person that I forgot about last turn draws her sword.
Oh yeah, stupid.
Having found her resolve, she draws her regular sword and charges into the fray. She is going to support Viz because that goblin is essential. So the way that I feel like I need to get like a whiteboard or something to be like, so this is how the situation is.
Like in the football games, like where they write on the screen. And...
So shield wall. Okay, so with my fine drawing techniques, so this is the entrance to the cave. This is essentially the wall, the shield wall. Right here is Jube, who is currently fighting the 3 guys. This is the one with the sword and shield. This is the one with the spear, and this is the bigger goblin. Then Viz is right here, fighting this goblin with the spear. Abner is right here, and so Eleonora is basically here and is just going to sprint forward and attack that goblin.
Oh, thank goodness, man. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean,
She likes me.
I mean, if you're hitting your attacks, she wouldn't need to help you.
No, but she likes me.
Yeah, keep German, buddy.
She thinks I'm cute. That's why she coming to save me and not you guys.
So she's going to attack. That is +2, +2.
It's dead. That's it. That's all we know.
15. And that's one with a spear, so that is literally barely enough to hit. So she charges forward and throws a quick thrust with her sword. It connects and punctures the armor. As it goes in, she does. Where's her damage? There it is. 5 damage, which. So, Viz, as you miss your sword, as you miss your dagger thrust, the goblin raises his spear and is about to try to skewer you again. As from behind you see he goes, and you just see a sword appear through his chest. and you see behind Elenara basically having just charged for about 20 feet and just ram it right into the guy.
Talented. But I've killed 10 of those in my time.
Whatever, stay focused.
So dumb.
All right, we're back to the top, which means that the goblins are going to try to push through. They're going to be able to push through. So the guards are, come on, stay firm, stay firm. And then one of the guards, you can see visibly is getting shoved back, like he is like leaning into his shield and still not able to hold back the force on it. As the shield kind of tilts back a bit as it gets wedged on the ground. Two goblins and a wolf are able to get over it, and they both land in your area of combat. Let me roll their initiative.
Shoot.
Guys, this is never gonna end.
It's probably like 10 more after that. I've only took 4 damage.
We might survive.
Yeah, I have 34 health, man. Unless they hit me every single time from now on, we're fine.
Well, let's make them hit you and not me.
I have a lot of health.
Because my health is limited.
Okay.
It's a very limited resource.
The wolf gets.
That's why my AC is so high. Because let's just say
Cheated.
no,
You rolled well.
I did.
All right. Top of the order goes to the wolf.
Oh gosh.
The wolf is gonna run past and with his position, Jube is already well occupied, so the wolf is instead gonna take a leap at Abner. And with fangs bared, it's gonna leap at you.
Okay.
And there's like, I have my Jedi powers.
That is
Stop.
an 11.
Wait, you only
Which
have
is
three
not
more
enough.
slots?
Dang it!
One shy.
I'm literally rolling like crap right now. This is so annoying.
You only have a certain number of spell slots, right? How many have you used?
I've used 2 firebolts and then 1 level 1 spell.
How many of those do you have? How
I
many
have-
slots do you have?
I think firebolts, I have 5 of them. Level 1, I have 4, and then I have 2 level 2s.
Okay.
He's enough.
Yeah, he's not doing too bad right now. But if he has to start healing people, those spells are gonna disappear quick.
Yeah.
We were good. We still have those potions
Those
they
are
gave us,
level
though, right?
ones, right? What's the healing spell? Level 1?
Level 1, yeah.
Okay. I'm shouting this across the
And
battlefield.
we each have a potion as well that they supplied us with.
So the wolf leaps at you with its mouth wide open, ready to just take a giant bite out of you. But it leapt early enough that you see like it's obvious what its trajectory is going to be. So you just you basically jump out of the way of it, and it lands and kind of skids behind you, spinning around, and is just growling at you and ready to make another attack once it gets the opportunity. Next up is Jube.
Alright, I'm gonna take a gigantic side swing at that ugly thing.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
Okay, every time Jude goes, it's like, I'm just going to chop everything.
18.
Okay, that's
Oh, okay. Can I say? I'm pretty sure I'd say I have to do power attack.
You have to say it beforehand, so you can't be like, "Oh, that's a good roll. I power attack with it."
Yeah.
Like you were just about to do.
Yeah. No.
So that's gonna hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
All right. 4,
Okay.
3 plus 4.
You add your strength,
8,
right?
9, 10, 11.
11 damage. All right.
Right.
Do you also have a base attack that you
Oh,
add?
plus 2,
That
Or
base
is it
attack
not
is
for
for to hit,
and then plus 2
Okay.
to that.
which he rolled high
It was
enough
high
on
enough,
the
okay.
dice that you don't need to.
13 plus the rage.
I thought you added the rage.
Oh wait, yeah, I did.
Okay.
So it's 11.
All right. So you in your rage, you take your swing at the goblin, and you connect right in the torso area where the blade collapses the armor and gets. It's not wedged in there, or it's like it's stuck or anything, but it doesn't cut all the way through. It's not like you bisect him or anything.
Dang it.
Where he then snarls at you. and is ready to continue its offensive. As you pull the blade out, he's going to make a counterattack at you.
Go ahead. See what happens.
Finally, we got some hits. That's like a 18, which is enough to hit. That is going to be 4 damage.
Ouch. Ouch, guys.
It's not nearly as bad as that one guard that hit you that one time. Knocked you unconscious in like one hit.
Yeah, it's true.
That was the stupidest move.
That one was funny though. Next up is Abner.
Ambrose.
Um,
Well, you have to attack that wolf.
yeah, since I feel like I'm gonna be here for a while, instead of just trying to burn it to death, I go at it with my quarterstaff.
Okay, roll to attack.
It's funny.
So let's see. 6, which I'm guessing my modifiers are gonna be nowhere near enough. So that'd be 7, 9.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not enough. You raise your quarterstaff and take a swing, overhead swing down at it, and the wolf sidesteps as the crack of the staff hitting the ground comes down right to it at its side. Next up is one of the goblins that jumped through,
Oh, shoot.
who is going to run at Viz,
Oh, Viz.
and that is a 18.
Oh, gosh.
So he's going to do damage, and you are going to take 4 points of damage.
Dear God.
Ouch.
Well, to be fair, Gimmin in the chat is telling you guys to kill everything right now. So
We're working on it.
We're getting there.
We're working on it.
I'm taking 8
If
points
I'm
of
not taking
damage.
4 things of damage,
Is that half your health?
it's
Yeah,
quite
we're
bad.
killing everything except each other.
Uh,
We're gonna try to keep each other alive.
next up is a roll off between Viz and this goblin because they have the same initiative. So go ahead and roll a d20.
Roll off. You better do good.
I rolled a 6.
All right,
So I've
Goblin
rolled
goes
sixes all game.
Goblin goes first. The goblin that
So you
leaps
rolled
over,
46s?
that goblin is going to engage Eleonora, and that goblin has a sword and shield, and is going to make a swing at Eleonora.
Eleanor, mess him up.
As he takes the swing, Eleonora parries it with her sword, and is basically raises her sword up to do a counterattack. But it's not her turn yet.
Now it's Viz's turn.
Yeah, now it's Viz's turn.
Sick. So, is she tied up with this goblin?
She's tied up with the goblin, but you also have a goblin on you.
Okay, I'm gonna attack the one that's on me.
Okay.
Gosh dang it!
What is it, 6?
Even with my modifiers, it's not.
What is it?
It's a 5.
So plus 4 plus. Yeah, it's not going to be enough. As you take a swing, the goblin is able to parry it with his short sword, and gives you a snarl as you don't understand what it's saying, but you can. It's common between all languages. He's taunting you.
Yes.
Now we are to Eleonora, who has her sword raised to strike and is gonna swing down.
She's gonna help you out a lot.
She rolls.
Can I switch out dice with you?
Now watch, I'm gonna use your dice and be like,
You're gonna probably do
natural 20, natural 20, natural 20.
Probably.
Let's see, it's
But at this point, I was giving up on those.
13.
Plus, blue's my favorite color.
13 is not enough to hit. And Gibbon says, no, he meant everything. That includes all of you, and he expects to see some backstabbing and murderous rage.
What?
So Eleanor swings down with her sword, but the goblin raises a shield and it just clashes with that, and then slides off the side of the shield harmlessly, as she resets for another set of attacks. And we go back to the top. The goblin soldiers are going to try to hold each other back. and the soldiers hold firm, and you begin to hear that the goblins are being held back, and you can hear that there are more goblins kind of massing up against the shield wall, but the shield wall is holding firm. In other words, it's not like you killed all. You haven't killed anywhere near all of them. With that said, I would say Abner and Viz, go ahead and roll perception checks.
5 plus 7, so 12.
Perception. 8 plus 6. So
14. Okay. Continuing on to the top of the order.
no.
You're in the middle of combat. This is something that would be hard to perceive because you're in the your mind is focused on the fight.
Yeah.
Wolf's turn. Gonna bite his head off.
Yep, it is the wolf's turn. He's gonna
Bite his head
attempt
off.
to take a chunk out of Abner.
Abner stew.
That is a 12. Which
Dang it!
This is what you needed.
This is what we're.
you take
This is the moment, man.
This is what
take
we're all my
5
time.
points of damage.
First it was
Dorian.
Dorian. Then it was Viz.
Next up is
Goblin.
Jesse.
Alright, I'm gonna take a repeatedly side swing at the same side of that guy.
You pull it out and you're just like, and you go for the exact same spot. Go ahead and roll to attack.
3.
As you go for the same spot, the larger goblin sees it coming and just drives his sword down where even part of the point of it sticks into the ground just to make sure it absorbs the shock of your blade clashing against it. And there's a loud ching as your sword collides with his sword, but you unfortunately do not connect for damage.
Dang.
Next up is the goblin, who then pulls his sword out of the ground and then takes a diagonal slash at you, Jube.
You're gonna get wrecked.
That
Okay,
is
that.
a with being flanked. Plus that.
I think I got hit. Tell me the damage.
That is a 14, which is going to hit since you are raging. You take 6 points of damage.
I'm getting low on HP. 24.
The look of shock on the rogue's face.
I'm almost down into the teens on my health points here.
That's good, because I'm in the single digits. We got problems going on over here, guys.
Next up is the goblin that charged Viz.
Oh, great. Probably gonna charge me again and then mark me.
He's rolled a 9, so that's not a hit.
Alright,
So
Viz,
then-
take him down.
Next up is the roll off between the other goblin and Viz.
11. Getting better.
I rolled a 20.
Dang it.
So that goblin goes first. That is the goblin that charged Eleonora and is going to take a swing. That is going to hit.
Me?
No, Eleonora.
You would have died right there.
I'm like over here like
Eleanor takes.
this quickly?
Eleanor takes a
This is
hit.
how it ends?
Eleanor took a hit. Was she dead?
What type of hit? Weed?
Pretty,
Yeah.
pretty bad hit.
What type of hit we talking? I know it's stressful and all, but
Now is not the time.
Okay.
this is not your
So
moment.
the goblin after having blocked with the shield, goes for a stab, and the stab hits her in the gut,
Oh, God.
where she then takes a step back and then immediately goes back into it and is gonna attack the goblin. That's a crit. Yeah, that's a crit.
Gosh dang it,
I-
man. Give him those dice.
I was rolling the dice. I was using before. So that's
But this is the person on our side attacking.
yeah.
That's good. That goblin's dead for sure.
Yeah, the goblin's toast. Eat.
Where's my D8? There it is. Unless I roll crap on damage.
Well, to be fair, I don't even roll damage, so it's better than me.
Someday, yeah. Someday, Viz. Someday.
So she stumbles back and then makes the attack and goes for a swing and connects with the just above the shield of the goblin and the arm that's holding the shield. It doesn't cut through, but it definitely leaves a large gash in that arm.
Ouch.
So
he's not dead.
He's surely alive.
Yep. Now we go back to the top of the order, where the goblins and the guard. Okay. All right. So the goblins again attempt to push through, but the guards hold firm, and then you begin to hear from the other side of the shield wall. Rather than just the random screams and war cries of the goblins, you hear one of the goblins speaking in a language you don't understand. And suddenly, one of the guards, who's like, he then, I can't move! I can't move! And then the goblins shove him back easily, and there's a gap in the shield wall.
Oh my god.
Now we go.
Arcana.
Now we go to the top of the order.
What the heck? A goblin that knows.
Wait,
That knows magic.
everyone hears it?
Yeah, everyone hears the.
Can I have a knowledge of Arcana. Can I like do that or something?
I mean, you can roll.
And can I hear
I
it?
have
or
knowledge
whatever?
of religion.
The issue is you hear him talking, but he's talking a language you don't know.
Oh. So.
I was honestly kind of wishing you rolled it, so it would be like no matter what you rolled, you have no idea what he's saying because he's talking goblin.
Oh my gosh.
When that guy gets pushed back, one larger goblin walks through, as well as a goblin that is dressed differently, and rather than wearing like full armor or anything, he has a robe with a like bone tooth necklace, has a weird headdress, and is carrying a staff. And then and he's basically guarded by by one of the larger goblin types.
There's two of the one I'm attacking and that one, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna go after the big skeleton dude. After I kill this one. Just saying.
We're just working your way down the line.
Oh my gosh.
Their
Alex, you gotta help us out here, dude. Do something.
what?
I don't know. We have a lot of things going on.
Bro, I can't even hit him.
I'm done, like... There's like 5 of them attacking me.
There's only 3 attacking you.
I have one attacking me.
Shoot.
Go ahead and Viz and Abner, go ahead and roll perception.
Why not me?
Because you're in a rage. You are singularly focused on
Nice.
destroying the foes in front of you.
I'm not even going to talk about it.
With my modifier, 25.
That is actually exactly what you needed. Because you're in the thick of battle. It was hard to hear. But you hear behind you the sound of... what is that? You hear the sound, the familiar voice of Eric Gwynn saying, shouting, pull back to the palisades. Reinforcements are on their way.
I like to hear that, bud.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neither did I.
With that said, the wolf now attacks you.
I figured as much.
So the wolf makes another leap at you and does not hit.
better kill
That's
it
like
this time.
4 with modifiers.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill it.
Yo, how hard is it to kill a wolf?
Its wolves are pretty hard to hit. because they're really agile.
Oh no, I never killed one.
I don't know. I can't even hit a goblin. So
So you gotta work your way up. Yeah.
I killed one in one shot, and then the rest of them have been.
Welcome to not being able
Me
to sneak
too,
attack
I've-
as a rogue.
I haven't killed anything since that one goblin.
Next up is the goblin that's in the weird attire and with
my
the staff.
gosh.
Goblin is going to point at. He's gonna point at Eleonora and say more words that you don't understand.
Crap, he's a witch crap.
Yeah, I'm going after that thing next. I'm gonna.
Dude, he's freaking.
I'm gonna dive like my sword in front of me, just straight at him.
Straight up
Anime
witch
style,
crap.
just
Right after I kill this thing, that's right where I'm
Just
going.
gonna make a goblin kebab.
No doubt about it. This thing is
double check how to get rid of this.
all mine, dude. And I'm
So,
just taking that
I'm
necklace.
fine with that.
As
I would take that necklace if I were you.
Why?
Might have some demonic things to it.
as Eleonora is fighting the is fighting the goblin in front of her, she strike is coming in and she parries it, and then all of a sudden she parries it. And I can't move. This is some sort of magic. And yeah, so she's stuck.
Oh crap! I gotta kill that thing quick.
Okay, that's it. Okay, just checking for how I check to see if it goes away or not, or how it goes away. So she is stuck. Next up is Jube.
All right, I'm gonna try to finish this guy off again with just a strike straight down.
All right,
Let's see if I can finish it off. 13 plus something.
plus a lot. That's gonna hit since you're raging. It's plus I think 4 for your strength and another 2 because you're raging.
Yeah.
So that's gonna hit.
Okay. Oh, and that's gonna hit. All right, let's see how much damage I do. What is that?
A 1.
1 plus 5, 6 plus. Is that it?
Plus 2 because you're raging. Plus whatever your strength modifier is.
So
which is-
6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay, so you come in with the overhead swing, and the goblin raises a sword to block it, and it just crashes through the sword, and the sword is evidently poorly made because the sword doesn't hold up to the blow and just shatters as then the blade just comes down on his head and collapses his helmet, and just it stops at about this area.
Jeez, bro.
And the goblin has his head is like standing there holding it above his head, and then everything just kind of goes limp and he falls down
And
dead.
right when that happens, I run towards that wizard thing, like immediately. Just saying.
FY, you do still have 2 little goblins on you.
Well, I'm still running towards it.
All right, well they're gonna get attacks of opportunity
Never
then.
mind, just kidding.
False alarm.
We don't need that now. Okay, next up is the dead hobgoblin. Next up is one of the goblins that's standing next to you. That's gonna miss. Next up is the other hobgoblin, who is
Hobgoblins? They come on the cob now?
It's so dumb.
lame. This one is going. The hobgoblin is actually gonna basically just take a step and stand in front of the robed goblin, and just gonna stand there and is gonna hold his action. Next up is the goblin that's facing Viz.
Alright,
Take a
Viz.
swing.
It's the
Gonna
one I
miss.
have a tie with?
Huh?
It's not the one I don't have.
It's the one you don't have a tie with, and then the one that you have a tie with is the one that's facing Eleonora.
Okay.
Better
But
kill
he
that
misses
one.
with an 8, so now it's
That
the
misses
roll off.
for sure.
So now it's the roll off between the 2 of us.
Alright.
You better get him. Oh,
ET.
Nice.
Yep, you got it.
Finally! Alright.
Who are you talking?
Critical fail. critical. No.
9.
No, that might still
plus
work.
4 dexterity modifier.
And then plus your base attack bonus or your BAB.
So 2. So we're looking
Is it 15?
15.
That is barely enough to hit.
Finally!
Got him.
Yeah, barely enough to hit.
Got out of this.
Because he does not have heavy armor.
So then it's a d6.
D6 divided by 2.
Nice. 2.
1.
So
It's a
1,
3.
and then add your dexterity modifier. Or it's a 3?
It was a 3 cut in half.
So it rounds up.
2.
Yeah, it'd be rounded up. Because it's a 1 or 2 is a 1. A 3 or 4 is a 2.
Okay,
5
so it's a 2.
and then plus 4 because of your dexterity modifier
Yeah.
to it. Because with level 3, you get to add that to your
Yeah.
damage as well.
And do we get an extra roll?
Um,
Because of my talent?
you mean to attack with your second dagger?
No. I thought I got a second. Oh, that's only during sneak attack. My bad.
Yeah, the other d6s are when you sneak attack.
You still got decent damage.
So it was 6 damage.
Yeah.
That is against this guy. You throw you jab your dagger forward, and the goblin attempts to parry it, but is barely too slow as the knife right into the neck of the goblin. As that you just jab and immediately pull back, and the goblin's like and just collapses over.
Guys, I got 2.
Next up is the goblin that is facing a paralyzed Eleonora.
Oh, you should have got that one.
Yeah, should have. But there was this other one that was attacking me, so.
He's gonna take a swing.
Hopefully he misses.
Yeah, no, that's gonna hit. Even if she wasn't paralyzed, that would hit.
That would be funny if she missed.
To be fair, I don't really matter.
She's gonna
Mind
take.
or care at the moment.
She's gonna
I'm sure Abner can bring her back to life.
Okay.
Depends how far you gone to.
All right. It's her turn. She's gonna attempt to break free of this.
Oh, I just saw something.
Oh no, you saw the player reference one, which I've left completely blank because I'm too lazy to actually fill it in with information.
Yeah, it was important. Important stuff right there.
It's
Super important.
We both killed 2 so far.
That's
Yeah,
actually
dude, so why are you
that's-
complaining that I'm not doing enough?
that's just
We
enough
killed
to
one,
break
we
it.
killed one, we won.
So the goblin stabbed her again in the arm, and then as the stab goes through, she's able to break free from her paralysis, but she had to spend her turn to do that, so she can't attack this turn.
How heavily damaged is she?
She's bleeding quite a bit. She's not like shaky on like last breaths or anything, but she's definitely out of everyone, she's the most hurt.
Really?
Yeah,
Really,
that,
me? Hey,
Well, I've taken the most damage so far. I've taken
uh,
14 damage.
yeah, but that would have killed me.
welcome to Rogue. Back to the top of the order. The first guard that was
Did I-
paralyzed.
Did I get a turn?
Oh no, you didn't. You're right. My bad. My
I think
bad.
I'm in there somewhere in that
My
order.
bad. Go. It's your
No,
turn.
I said, yeah.
That's,
So-
I forgot because I had you roll perception to hear Eric.
Okay. So the area is kind of grassy. I'm trying to think. So if I were to cast let me see the actual name of it. Entangle. Is there enough plant life there to support that?
Let me read the
Can you hold my
specifics
clothes in
because
the
I
dryer?
think it's you. I think it's if there aren't, then it's like
Wait, is there some is there
magical
clothes in the dryer?
roots will sprout and do it. But let me
Never
check.
mind.
Maybe.
Once it's at the top of the order.
Because
though.
entangle is usually a pretty standard
Okay.
spell.
Those are some clothes I'm gonna bring.
Yeah, mine too. That's mine.
Yeah, maybe they're just magical plants that pop out of nowhere.
Wow. It's way over there.
Yeah, I'm
Here,
sure
go
Chad
fill my
heard
water
that.
real quick.
For no particular reason, just because you're thirsty.
Yeah.
You gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah. Oh, guys, I found a dice.
Nice.
Wow.
Score.
Imagine that. The luck of having to go get some water when that happened.
Dude, I'm telling you, man.
Let's see. Reflex. Saving throws reflex. This spell causes tall grass, weeds, and other plants to wrap around creatures in the area affected or those that enter the area. Creatures that fail their save gain the entangled condition. Creatures that make their save can move as normal, but those that remain in the area must save again at the end of the turn. Creatures that move into the area must save immediately. Those that fail must end their movement. Entangled creatures can attempt to break free. Yeah, you would be able to do it.
And is it an indiscriminate spell?
From looking at it, it does look like it is. I don't see that anything that's like you can.
Can I aim it through the gap in the guards? So basically, just to prevent any more from coming through if we try to retreat.
No, it's a circle area of effect. It's not like you can. It's not something you can shape.
Is it a circle around me or a circle around a point that I pick?
It's a circle around a point that you pick. It's your range is 400 feet plus an additional 40 feet per level.
So, for example, could I just point it 40 feet down the cave? And then just any goblins in front of the guards?
Yeah, you could do it like in. Well, I would say roll a perception check first to see if you have a line of sight through.
17.
Yeah, you have a gap that you can see where you could cast it.
Okay. And then it lasts long enough where even if it takes us a turn or two to fight, it'll slow him down.
It takes a standard action to cast and lasts a minute per level, so it would last for 3 minutes.
Okay. Even though the wolf is gonna bite at me, I think I'm gonna try to do that.
Okay. I don't. It's
a reflex thing,
yeah,
right?
you don't roll anything to cast it. It just goes off.
Yeah, and then it's reflex partial according to this.
Yeah, it's if they pass, they can still move.
Okay.
But if they move in the area on their next turn, they risk getting entangled again.
Yeah, I figured that would give the guards enough of an edge where they can try to seal it back up.
Okay. So
I'm gonna put it at 1 so I know it doesn't roll 1.
It's like, this is the only time you get to do that. Never again.
quite a few goblins are getting entangled.
It's all according to
How
plan. All like, only like 300 out of 400,
What?
Okay.
Hurry up, Alex.
So, the wolf is going to take a bite,
Off you?
and that's a 14, which is going to hit.
Of course it is.
You will take 4
14.
points of damage.
Oh, my.
4?
4.
440 damage.
Oh, okay, then I'm quadruple.
All right. So you begin to circle. You begin to move your hands in the way to cast Entangle.
While the wolf's gnawing on my arm.
And as you do that, the wolf sees this happening and leaps at you, biting and bites your thigh, and is biting deeply as you wince from the pain. Still continue to cast it, and then you shoot out as a like wispy green arcane energy flies from your fingertips past the shields into the cave, and then you just hear a low rumble as roots begin to appear underneath the goblins and entangling their feet and making it much more difficult for them to move. Next up, so it was successful. Most of the goblins that are in the front got entangled. There were multiple in the back that didn't, but they unfortunately are kind of stuck because the ones in the front did.
And then I guess as I do that, I shout, fall back to the palisade.
Okay.
What? No.
I like to move it.
I want to kill that magic guy.
We don't mean to copyright infringe people.
No.
So you just went.
I want to kill that magic dude.
And we're back to the top of the order because of the fact I forgot to do your turn.
Dang it.
So, with that said, roll a diplomacy check.
Me?
No, Abner.
I have no idea what modifier is for that since I never do it.
It'd be charisma and then whatever your modifier is.
It's a -1 since they don't have that skill check, whatever it's called.
Okay, so then what's the roll?
12.
Okay. The main guard that you were talking to looks back and to you as he's still holding his shield firm. Looks back to you and sees behind you as well, Eric, in running up with a contingency of guards, and goes, "You heard the man, and fall back to the palisade." And they begin to back away. They begin to disengage from the shield wall to pull back to the wooden palisades that are about 30 feet or so away.
Okay.
Now we go to the top of the order where the wolf is going to try to bite you again.
Third time's the charm.
And that's going to miss.
Yay!
Next up is the shaman, who is...
Or witch doctor, whichever one you want.
What is this? I wrote down what is...
Or soon to be dead, whatever you want to call it.
Or gonna die by my blade.
Yeah. My personal knife holder,
We use my kitchen knife against this guy.
I really just want to kill him.
Where is
Jesse,
that?
what if I kill him before you? Will you be mad?
Remember that line from the show. One show I was watching, this guy had a knife and he was talking about how it's like he was trying to find a knife holder for his knife and nothing fit.
What?
He was just like stabbing everything.
Okay.
Guys, if someone heard our conversations outside of this context, they'd be very concerned.
It would be awesome.
Yeah, would you be upset if I killed him first? No, you'd be fine.
It's like, what are these goblins and why do they hate them so much?
Why is there a wolf biting him? Where is a palisade?
These guys should really go to the hospital. And what are points of damage?
Oh man, that's awesome. Why does he say he's so bloodied up? I mean, he looks fine to me. And this guy's saying he's enraged, but he's the most calm guy in the whole room.
Why do they like the number 20 so much?
What's so special about the number 20?
And why does it always have to be natural? I mean,
Yes, okay. So he is going to reach out his hand and mutter another few words, and
Gosh.
Oh my
you
gosh.
sound so sad about that.
Yeah, we don't like when things talk when they're
I
supposed to
want
be
to
dead.
just shut him up forever.
And as he finishes speaking, there's going to be a coalescing of light in the palm of his hand as he reaches back and finishes his incantation. He then reaches forward as a beam of red hot energy fires out from it at you. So,
shoot, that cell looks familiar.
that is a 15. That's gonna hit. You get to make a, I think, reflex save.
2. That's to will. Dang it. If it was my will, then I'd be good. But my reflex.
Actually, no, you don't get a saving throw because it's I have to roll to attack. Okay.
I'm dead.
You take 15 points of damage.
Yikes.
That doesn't sound good.
As this beam comes and it collides with your shoulders, you begin to feel a very hot heat on your shoulder, and you begin to smell burning flesh as it burns away the top layer of your skin there.
Now I'm almost to his hit point level. Shoot.
Next up is Jude.
Alright, I'm gonna just run. I don't care. Run at that guy. Full
The
force.
shaman guy.
All right.
With my power attack as well.
Okay, first 2 goblins get attacks of opportunity
Go
against
ahead.
you.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Both miss.
Alright, sweet.
Actually, wait.
It's 13.
Yeah, that's still a miss.
Thank you, Barskin.
So you're gonna take a swing?
Yeah, I'm gonna like run and jump, swing down, or
Okay.
something cool. Two.
Wow.
2.
So you run forward in your rage. You shout a war cry as you jump up, and then you take a swing. And the hobgoblin that's guarding the shaman steps in front and blocks it with his sword, and then kind of shoves it to the side. So you land on your feet still, but the hobgoblin is in front.
I was
Is
hoping.
blocking your path.
Then I got
Way to
20.
waste things.
No, I get to use that every time.
Power attack is just extra there.
Okay, who's irresponsible?
Next up is actually the hobgoblin, who is going to swing at Jude.
Yeah, that's what you get.
That is a 13, which hits
Hopefully he gets
barely. You take 3 points of damage. So I rolled a 1. You
What are we looking
lucky
at?
son of a
10.
gun.
Yeah, you're still not matching me yet.
I'm gonna use my health potion soon.
Next up in the order is Abner.
Okay. So I know we kind of mentioned it out again when I was looking at the spell. So if I cast, wait, am I doing the wrong? No, sorry, I don't have that one ready. Never mind. Let's see. So in that case, I guess I just go at it with my quarterstaff against the wolf.
Okay.
Let's see, bet you.
Natural 20.
Yeah.
Roll for damage.
It's gonna. You get something.
It's a quarterstaff at 2 times or 3 times. I don't remember.
Mine's 5, or mine's 2.
It says ×3, but I have no idea if that's accurate on this chart.
Go ahead and roll for damage, and I will double check.
No, just leave it at ×3. That'd be cool.
1d4 plus 1, according to this.
You will hopefully get a 6. 4. Wow.
5, because it's plus 1.
And then ×2 or ×3?
If it's the ×3, that's 15.
Should be a D6. I'm not sure why it's saying D4.
What the heck? That's not fair.
Fine.
It's a D6 with a ×2.
With a ×2?
Yeah.
6.
That's no.
That's 4.
With the strength modifier though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does it double the strength modifier?
No. It just doubles the dice roll.
Okay, so then that'd be 5 damage.
10.
Okay. So you take a swing.
If I
And-
don't roll or 5?
5 total.
×2.
Because it's 2 doubled plus the strength of 1.
That's stupid.
Strength of 1.
Strength modifier of 1.
That's dumb.
That's lame.
You could have had
So I
12
have negative
damage.
1
Yeah.
strength.
What the?
Wait, you rolled a 4 on the last roll?
I
or-
rolled a 4 on the d4.
I'll give you the higher one. I'll be kind. So that'd be a...
So then that'd be 9.
Okay. You, after finishing casting the spell and shouting to fall back, you take your staff. The wolf is still gnawing at your leg, so you just take your staff and jam it right in its head, and the wolf pulls back after getting, pretty badly rocked in the face right there.
Sounds about right.
But it
Next
didn't-
up
didn't kill
is
Viz.
is the goblin that is. That goblin's dead, actually.
Goblin number 14.
Actually, it's the roll off because that goblin now is dead. So it's the roll off between us.
You win.
What'd you roll?
4.
Okay, I win. I rolled a 5.
It's close.
So the goblin is going
Respectable
to.
fight.
The goblin is going to attack Eleonora again. Actually,
Kill him.
yeah, the goblin is going to still attack.
Yeah, he is. He's not attacking me.
That is going to hit. Why am I only able to hit the characters I create and not you guys?
Because we're good.
Or I'm unlucky.
No, I prefer the good part.
Sure. Okay, she takes another hit.
Yeah, she's useless.
Viz, it is your turn.
Oh, sick.
Destroy him.
You said she's already killed one and has
So,
been keeping another one
The
busy.
goblin that's attacking Eleonora, I'm gonna attack.
Okay, go for an attack.
6 plus
Plus 4 plus.
2. Probably gonna hit. It's
Wait.
8
It's 6 plus 4,
Yeah.
so it's 10.
plus 2. 12.
Where's the plus 2 from?
Base attack.
Oh yeah, base attack, so that's 12. Plus another 2 because it's flanked.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know I was flanking.
Well, she's fighting Eleonora.
Oh, that's true. Sneaky sneak.
If he didn't have a shield, that would hit, but it doesn't. So you go for the stab, and it just ricochets off of the armor and kind of slides off. Unfortunately, it missed. Next up is Eleonora, who at this point is very much in pain, but is not like, I'm gonna pass out yet. So she is going to take a final swing at this goblin. That's cocked. That's gonna hit.
So are we ever gonna fall back?
Not yet. I already killed him.
We did until he was charging the shaman.
I'm gonna kill a shaman first.
And
No! You're an idiot.
No.
Let's leave him behind, just like Doran.
No.
All right.
100% gonna kill that
So
shaman.
Eleonora.
100%.
So
Oh,
she takes a swing, but the goblin blocks it with the shield. But she kind of got a hook underneath the shield, so the shield swings wide, and seeing the opening, she immediately then drives the blade right into his gut, causing the stabbing the goblin in the center, and then kind of like almost lifting him up, because goblins are pretty light. They aren't that big. So kind of and just pulls the goblin up a bit, and then and the goblin crumbles to the ground.
she got skills, bro.
Let's see. So that goblin's dead.
You wanna be my
That
girlfriend?
goblin attack. Shaman. Do you legit actually say that,
No.
or?
No. Maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
Does
Next.
Viz say that? Possibly. Alex, no.
I mean, it's quick. Does Viz say that?
Maybe. Under his breath. Or she can't hear him.
Or she'll need a perception check to hear it.
All right. She ignores you.
Okay.
She's focused on the battle.
She's focused on not bleeding out.
So we go to
If I
the
give you a healing potion, what are you gonna do?
little busy here.
That's extortion, Alex.
Next up, it's to the top of the order. With that, let's see how many goblins break out. Entanglement.
Oh my gosh, I'm almost dead. I don't know what to do.
You're almost dead?
Not too many of them
I've
break
taken
out.
one hit and I'm almost dead.
Not too many goblins break out of the entanglement. With that said,
You have some that break out of the entanglement.
the guards continue to pull back, and at this point, a few of them kind of slam their shields into the ground to cause it to dig in so that they could leave the shield because it's kind of big and unruly. So they leave the shield and then turn around, and you've actually got a few guards that are going to attack a few creatures.
Thanks.
So 2 guards actually make stabs at the shaman.
They're gonna kill the shaman.
Maybe.
One does connect, and
That'd be really funny.
spear, I think, is a D8.
You've just been so set on.
Yeah, D8. Okay.
I think they're stronger than me
That
too.
much damage. Then the rest of them, or another one moves into body block or to protect Abner and attack the wolf.
Okay.
Wolf's dead.
That is also going to connect. Holy moly! What the? I literally just rolled max damage for both attacks that hit. So, as you're trying to fight this wolf off, you just you're in the middle of preparing another strike, and you just kind of see a spear come in from your peripheral vision and just stab the wolf right in the face, and then it keeps going and it just drives the wolf into the ground, and then the guard pulls it out. It's like, come on, you're sent back to the palisade, and begins to try to pull you along.
That's funny.
Next up is
Yeah, follow your own orders.
Wolf is dead. Next up is the shaman.
Shaman, wiki shaman.
He is a bit tied up, where he's gonna pull a dagger out and attempt to attack one of the guards that just attacked him.
Daggers, we say.
You're like, no, that is something I'm familiar with.
So he pulls the dagger out and is
Something
pulling
interesting.
it in a ice pick murder stroke position. I think that's what it's called. And goes for a stab on one of the guards. But unfortunately, the goblin, since he's shorter, when he takes the swing, the soldier is able to easily sidestep it, where he kind of stumbles forward. Because he's not. You can see that he's clearly not used to fighting. So he stumbles forward. Like he's a caster. He's not a fighter. So he stumbles forward and is off balance from the attack. Next up is Jube.
Almost.
You are facing the other hobgoblin.
I'm gonna attack him with my power attack.
Okay.
Hopefully I kill him this time. Oh man, what's wrong with this thing? 2.
So you take another swing, and the hobgoblin, as you're swinging, goes, You're going to need to do better than that," and just parries the blow, quite easily.
So close to 20. 2.
Next up, the hobgoblin is then going to strike back at you. And that's a 14. Take 4 points of damage.
Oh dang, you're definitely lower than me now.
6.
Next up in the order is Abner.
You might want to use a potion.
I'm going to.
You're next.
So the wolf's gone. Do I have any open targets as I kind of start working my way back to the wall?
You can fire a spell at the hobgoblin.
The one that was guarding the shaman?
Yeah,
Do it.
because the shaman it's Jube is engaging the hobgoblin, and then behind him is the shaman. So you don't really have a line of sight onto the onto the shaman, but you can easily hit the hobgoblin.
If it's Let's see. So if it's not necessarily like a projectile spell, does it matter if I don't have a clear shot necessarily?
Depends on what the spell is.
Technically, I'm a 0.
I think I'm gonna do if I haven't clear enough vision, I'm gonna do Steel Breath on the shaman.
Let's see what
The shaman or the hob? What does that do?
So if it works, it's basically for one turn, the shaman basically
Can't speak.
he basically just gasps for air for the turn, so he can't cast any spells.
Dang it, it's not in this.
I'm technically at 0 points right now. Because rage gives me 6 HP.
So when it wears off, you're gonna fall unconscious.
Yes. Crap.
I can look up here too. Let's see spells.
Holy moly, dude.
Level 2.
Does it do damage as well, or is it just takes away their
I think
breath?
it just takes away their breath.
Yeah, because I'm not fighting any of these ones.
Steel Breath, level 2, transmutation air. You pull the breath from a creature's lungs. It says dealing damage, but it doesn't list any damage rolls. And leaving it unable to speak, use breath weapons, or cast spells with verbal components.
Let's see.
And it was just in the druid spells in this thing. I don't know if that helps you find it.
Stupid breath.
I guess a lot of these spells, it says does damage. Oh wait, there we go. If I click it, it gives more detail.
2d6. But I have to pass I get a chance to pass a fortitude saving throw.
Okay. So is that doable from my angle and stuff?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's.
I'm basically like, who's the spellcaster
I mean,
now?
with it, you can see him. It's like
It's just if I was to
he's
throw a
we-
fireball,
he-
something
yeah,
like
it's
blocking.
like he would, yeah.
Yeah.
So you can see him where you can cast that. He fails his fortitude save, so go ahead and roll for damage.
So
Damage?
2d6.
You gets damage to that too?
Yeah,
His
because
lung-
all
his
of the
lungs
air is
basically
being
get crushed.
sucked out.
A 1 and a 5, so 6.
All right.
And it cannot speak, use breath weapons, or anything else requiring breathing.
Well, he can't speak when he's dead. So,
Wait, what?
Sucks all the. His lungs implode and he dies.
so you say a few words in Druidic as the goblin is looking at one of the guards, going, and then just falls to the ground.
A visible line of swirling air leaves its mouth and enters my mouth,
Fair enough.
which is gross, but whatever.
Wait,
As
it
it-
died?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just use a spell, basically suck all the air out of his
He,
lungs.
he did take a hit from one of the guards.
Oh, yeah, duh.
As the breath enters your mouth, kind of smells bad. Like it leaves a bad aftertaste in your mouth where you're like,
Never again.
goblin breath stinks. Next up in the order is Viz.
Sick.
Go after the hob.
The hop. I go after the hop.
Okay.
Does that provoke opportunity attack?
No, because the other goblin got killed by
That's what
Eleonora.
I thought. Alright. Cool. 11
Okay.
plus modifiers, meaning being hit like 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would hit. Just barely.
Cool.
Damage time.
5.
That's 5. So that's the one that's halved.
Yeah.
So that'd be 3.
3, and then you get sneak attack damage since Jube is also fighting. He's flanked.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and roll 2d6.
1. So 2. 1. Cut in half, right?
No. For those, you just roll straight d6.
3.
3. So it's 6 total, plus 4 for your dexterity modifier, so you do 10 damage.
Boop.
Nice. Is it dead?
Nope, not dead.
Wow. I freaking stabbed that guy though.
Yes, you did.
He knew what was coming. I stabbed him. Stabbed him real good. Sure, I should probably, turn chat back on in case if someone starts talking. Here we go.
And then Vince goes to the corner and goes to the bathroom.
Seriously, we're in the middle of a fight. You have to use.
Get your priority straight, man.
He just stealths into the corner.
Let's see. What do I want Eleanor to do?
I don't know. What's left?
You could always roll for it.
It's the hobgoblin is left, and the shaman is dead, and then the other goblins are getting a bit stuck, getting themselves untangled.
Did she hear the fallback command?
Yeah, she did.
She should go then.
Yeah, she's gonna pull back, and as pulling back, she's gonna pull out a potion and drink it.
That's what I should do, actually.
Chug, chug, chug.
Yeah.
Cure wounds is 2d4, was it?
Let me pull it up since I have it right here.
Been a while since I healed anything. Okay.
1d8 plus 1 per level is what I have.
This is it?
The d8 is this one.
Alright. That did nothing for her. She recovered 3 HP. Alright. We go back to the top, I guess. The soldiers, at this point, they were kind of taking a few jabs as they were passing by to get to the palisade, and so they just make the rest of the way.
Okay.
One of them is the two that attack the shaman are going to attack the hobgoblin to attempt to free you guys up as well. Like as they're moving, they're going to take a jab. One will connect
Yeah.
and do not much damage.
Pretty sure it's dead now.
Nope, not when I roll a 1 for damage. Next up is Jube.
Can I use a potion, or would that act as my turn?
That'd probably be instead of attacking, right? I think it's what we did before.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me look up what type of action it is.
And then just chug and
It
fight.
promotes opportunity of attack. So,
It's like pouring a Gatorade on your head.
you pour it on your head and then they attack you. So say you roll a 6 health and they roll 6 attack. It means nothing.
Let's see.
I'm just kidding. That's not what that means.
Actions in combat.
I want at least 5 health points revived.
You want to know how many I want?
All of
It
them.
would be a standard
Yes.
action, so you would not be able to attack. And let's see. It does provoke an attack of opportunity.
Oh, I was right. It's terrible. Can you take 5 steps back and then do it?
Yeah.
I'll do that.
All right. So you disengage from the hobgoblin and take a drink.
On this one, right?
Yes.
Yikes.
Hey, that's just like Eleonora. You heal then 3 HP because it's a level 2 caster.
Gosh, dang it.
Next up is the hobgoblin, who is going to turn around and
Attack me.
he's going to attack the spearman since the spearman attacked him last.
9.
He's going to take a nice big swing and miss. Now it's
Better than 0 at least.
Actually, it's Abner's turn.
I have 3. Take
Abner, what are you doing?
heal me.
We do. You're healing me, obviously.
Let's see. So is the hobgoblin really the only one that's non-entangled at the moment?
For the most part, there are
a couple stragglers
there
there
are
again.
goblins behind the entangled goblins that are free, and they're trying to shove through, but the entangled ones are a bit too entangled to get through at the moment.
So we should probably.
How close are they to where I am?
The
Like near the.
they're like
Because I'm pretty close to the wall, right?
yeah, they're about 20 feet away from you.
It's not that far.
Yeah, they purposefully kept the palisades pretty close to the
20
entrance.
feet from here to that
'Cause
wall.
it's about containment.
That's not that much.
So then, in that case, how many hit points?
I have 9.
9.
Well, that makes it a tricky situation now, doesn't it?
I'll
I
let you
only
guys
need
work
4.
this one out.
I only need 4 to be healed fully.
I need
A lot.
like 32.
You know, just a little.
I have 13 health total.
Right.
I have 36. 38. Well, it's 31.
I'm good. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
I'm
healing
thinking.
me.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah.
If I roll, I still have my potion, so
Mhm.
that could help me out. Plus, if I roll the lowest number for the potion, I still get 3.
Since the hobgoblin's fighting, I can't really fire a bolt without risking.
Right. It's you can fire. It's if you roll a nat 1, then you'll probably hit a teammate.
Don't hit.
If you just miss, it's not going to hit a teammate.
Wait, that's the wrong one.
Technically, I have 3 HP. Technically.
I guess I can. Casting time. Did I have to roll to hit on that? Oh, okay, so that's a negating. I will do. I think this is the first time I use this one. Against the hobgoblin, I'll use flare on him. It's a level 0 spell where it's a fortitude negates, but basically it dazzles him where he gets a -1 on attack roll.
Okay.
Nice.
Since I don't want to risk hurting my own friendlies, I'll just try to stun him a little bit.
You said it was fortitude?
Yeah, fortitude negates, and then it's DC 12. And then I'll use whatever movement I have to get like 2 or behind the wall.
Okay. You get behind the wall. You fire the flare off. It goes off, and unfortunately, it doesn't seem to impact It doesn't seem to hamper the goblin's ability.
Okay.
But it's a 0 level spell, so.
Yeah.
No biggie. Next up is Fizz. So you're standing by the hobgoblin, but
Yeah. So, question.
yeah.
I should probably know this. My distracting attack feat, what exactly does that do that?
Distracting attack makes it, if I remember correctly, it makes it where his next attack is harder to hit. Or I think I think it lowers his AC, like he's
I'm
not
looking at that.
defending himself.
Can I use that?
If the attack hits, the target takes a -2 penalty on all attack rolls for 1 round, is what it says on this.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, so if you want, you can. Let me.
Wait, so
So if your attack hits, anytime that he tries to attack for 1 round, he has a -2.
alright, I'm gonna try to do that.
Do it and heal me too.
I can't.
Do everything. Everything!
Throw a potion at me.
No, that's mine.
I'll drink
All
it
right,
now.
go ahead and attack.
17.
That's good.
The hit?
A respectable
17?
roll.
Yeah, that would hit.
17 before modifier.
Yeah, 17 before.
Oh yeah, definitely hits.
2 damage plus 4 plus. That's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got an
So
unnatural
that's-
20.
No. 4.
What?
An unnatural 20. So unnatural.
An unholy 20.
6.
6. You you take your dagger and you actually throw it at him at close range.
Wow.
And flies through the air and hits him right in the back as he then collapses to the ground.
Guys, I did it.
You then recover your dagger because
Yeah.
you're standing right next to him.
Because I needed the dagger. Can I also take the dagger that he had?
He had a sword.
I
It was
thought
a shaman that had a dagger.
Oh, the shaman did.
Also, it might not be a good time to be looting the dead since
Yeah,
there's a
but-
goblin host right in front of you.
Yeah, I know. I just.
You're like, I
With
know, but
nothing-
I want to loot.
At this point, with nothing but a bunch of vines keeping them apart, right?
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
But it could be a cool dog dagger, like an ice pick version, like a dragon tooth version. Anyways, we're gonna retreat. But
Okay.
I'm gonna dream of all the good things it could have been.
All right. Go ahead, I guess. All right. So, with those guys dead, the cycle would reset. Let's see. All right. The goblins in the front manage to break out and they start moving forward, but you guys have gained enough distance that you guys are able to get behind the palisade in time. As the next wave comes, but as the next wave comes, from above you or from behind you, you hear "Watch out from behind!" and you see. Well, you first hear arcane energy, and then if you guys turn around, you see it's the halfling that's the treasurer, holding a staff, going "Hah!" and giant fireball coalescing at the top of his staff just shoots out and hits right in the entrance of the cave and causes a massive fireball of massive explosion just emanate from there. Let's see. Let me make sure I do the right.
That guy's more
rolls for
powerful
it.
than I thought.
Uh-huh.
He is a member of the Magica Arcanicum, which if you're paying attention, he's told you about. Which is why the Lord values
Which he's
him.
told me about like half a dozen times right now.
He's a little proud of it, if you couldn't tell.
And how generous his lord is.
Yeah. Let's see. It is. Okay.
Oh, I think homunculus.
What did you say?
Just kidding.
I heard American homunculus.
Yeah.
I don't know what you said.
Rushed out that way. What? Basically, it's a fake human.
Holy crap! I am rolling terribly on these saves.
Maybe this wizard isn't such a great wizard. Oh no, it's the other way around.
Yeah,
he's,
the goblins
he's
that
more
are failing
powerful
their
than we ever
saves.
could imagine.
Holy crap!
I rolled 2, 4, 2, 2, 19, 26. What is that? Equal.
A bunch of numbers.
I actually did roll in that 20 twice. Oh, that's a. Oh.
So the fireball impacts, and after the initial gout of flame dissipates, you see that he incinerated about 3/4 of the goblins that had just poured through the hole.
So what was
Because
that
I failed that many saving throws. And the rest are incredibly burned. Let's actually take it. Alright. They are incredibly burned and they begin to panic. Because they're all scorched. Like, it's similar how Abner's cone of flame did, like how it was like the one that had the eyes seared shut. It's like the ones that survived are like that level of bad, and they are panicking, and they begin to that front line just breaks and immediately tries to dart back into the cave.
So did we win?
Not yet.
With that, then the larger goblin that you saw
I'm chasing
first
after it.
is at the entrance as like the other goblins are falling back, and he goes, "I will hunt. I will catch. I." Let me rephrase what he says.
The goblin is actually standing there.
No. He goes, "I will see you in the darkness, where I will claim your heads as my own."
I like the dark. I can see in that.
As he stoops down and grabs Dorian's head and walks back into the cave.
That's my buddy's head. I don't know what you're doing with that.
And he walks back into the cave as the other goblins are fleeing around him.
Yeah, you better run. Alright, Edgar, good job, guys. We did a great job. What's up, son? We're done.
Is there anything you want to do as he's walking back into the cave?
Yeah.
To shoot a fireball.
You're a wimp.
I would chase him.
Now that the heat of the battle, the literal heat of the battle is mostly over, I kind of look over my compatriots for like wounds and stuff to see who needs healing and all that.
Other than Viz, they're all bleeding pretty bad. Like, the guards actually did a pretty good job of defending themselves with those tower shields. There are a couple that have a few cuts, few scrapes, but it's nothing too serious. Probably the two that are in the most pain right now are Eleonora and Jube.
I have 9 hit points.
At this point, your rage has faded because you've been out of combat.
I have 3 hit points.
So the red clears from your vision, and you're just like,
gosh.
oh! And you kind of, like, you fall on one knee, like, oh my god, it's so painful.
I'm guessing we're out of the combat turn order.
We're out of combat.
3 hit points. Oh my god.
And at this time, the you see coming down the hill, you see Eric, another 8 town guard, Lord Aemon, and what's his name? The treasurer. I know I wrote his name down somewhere.
3 hit points, man. Wow. Sorry.
You see them moving towards you guys, but they're still a little bit ways off. It's just Fireball has good range.
Okay. So then after looking them over, I just kind of give him some healing and just give him some health.
All right, roll
He
heal.
gets 1d8 plus, what was it? Per?
Your caster level, so 3.
Yeah. Come on. So 8 total.
Yeah, 8, 9, 10, 11.
All right.
And then I guess if I have time, I do the same thing on Eleanor.
Yeah, you would have just about enough time. As you walk over her, you see that she's like sat down, propped up against the palisade, and is like panting heavily. She didn't even sheath her sword; she just kind of dropped it where she was standing and sat down. And is panting heavily from the ordeal.
Okay. And I'm like, you look like you could use some help. 6.
Okay. She goes, I thank you. That was a hard fight. I think we're kind of lucky we survived that one.
I almost died.
I'm truly sorry about your friend, though.
Liz, do you have anything to say about that?
I mean, we will, we will get our vengeance.
That guy still owed me money.
These goblins, they're a force of evil and they will be wiped out. So
Yeah, but they're wimps and they run away. So
And just so you know, when the fireball hit, you can now count the numbers. About 15 goblins died from that fireball.
yeah,
Dang,
wimps, man. Why?
that's a lot.
More than you guys took out the entire time.
I took out.
Bro, bring them on.
There were
I took out.
you
2.
fought 11? No.
No, I took out 2 of them.
Yeah, you fought 11 guys, so he just killed more people with one fireball. But that's a very much crowd control. Like, you can easily kill your
I
friends
set
with
him up for him with the vines and all that, so it
I'm
was
not
a group
denying that.
To
effort.
be fair, I killed like 4, 3, maybe it was 10, but I
You
lost
killed
count.
2.
Sure. So as you're finishing healing her, the reinforcements arrive, and Eric is just immediately shouting orders. You three, relieve the. Pick up the tower shields. Get them in position. You three, make sure everyone's all right. You two, guard the gate. And Lord Aemon is there, letting Eric give orders, but is kind of standing right next to Eric. And the treasurer / wizard is kind of like, man, haven't had to run like that in a while. And Lord Aemon turns to Abner, and as you're rising up from treating Eleonora, and goes, what the hell happened here? The operation wasn't set to go for another 4 hours, a little less than 4 hours.
We moved in cautiously in order to scout out their positions, in order to decide the optimal positions for the charges. As we moved in, 2 of us held back because it was dark, we couldn't see, and then one of our party, one of the forward scouts, must have ran into some trouble or got ambushed or something, because he had to fire off a shot, and yeah, he is no longer with us. Fortunately.
See, this is why I was concerned about you guys doing recon. You just put everybody in jeopardy. Thank goodness that you guys were able to hold the line, and the guard and the group we had stationed here were able to keep the horde from getting out. We're still going to collapse this tunnel.
Yeah,
However,
Of course.
we should.
with them having attacked, and with killing your companion or your comrade, with how reduced their numbers are right now, if you so desire, we can delay the collapsing of the tunnel. If you want to attempt to go in and find vengeance.
What do
He
you guys
owes
think?
me money.
We should. For Viz's sakes.
Viz,
What?
I'm still with you.
I know, because he owes you money.
Oh yeah, there you go. Plus they're wimps.
I'm down.
Killed like 6 of them.
We were lucky that so many attacked at once, and we were able to thin the crowd quite a bit. We were able to thin their numbers quite a bit.
But, I'm also not really feeling the fighting thing, I'm kind of like...
You're feeling the sneaky sneak a little bit more?
Yeah, I feel like you guys go in,
Stumble
I'll
around.
go to the tavern, and then I'll come back. Alright, fine. I'll go with you. And I'll use my grappling hook. And I'll hide on the ceiling.
Huh. Interesting.
Alright then.
Odd hide on the ceiling of like a 7-foot high tunnel.
My strength's so good, man. I'm just gonna...
I'm more just saying it's like you're hanging from there, and it's still like you're taking up a third of the tunnel. Just
They can
hanging
still-
down, like,
they can still
they
reach
can
down.
see your feet dangling.
Alright, guys, what do you want to do? Abner, you're our leader. What do you say?
Let's go.
I
do
don't
it.
feel like we're in condition currently to rush in there. If we still have time after catching our breath. Think we can do it?
Yeah,
What do you guys
100%.
think?
I'm at 11 HP right now, so.
Yeah, me
Which
too.
is why I think we should dash in at this very moment.
I'm just kidding. I'm at 9.
I put up a brave front to.
Yeah.
You like take some of the blood from your wound and like smear it elsewhere. And be like, guys, I'm really hurt.
Guess I'm kidding. I'm 3.
You're starting to look pale, so you just smear a little blood on your cheeks to pass it off.
So as you guys are discussing this, he also looks over to Eleonora. I didn't clear you. I didn't say that you could leave the compound to go fight this battle. You aren't combat ready yet. I know,
she is.
I know my wife has been helping you, but you aren't ready to put your life in this
She
much
almost
danger.
died.
Oh no, she's stabbed like that.
To which she stands up and it's like, up until a week ago, you people, you didn't even know me. Why do you think you have the right to then tell me what to do?
I didn't tell her what to
No, she's saying this to Lord Aemon.
Oh.
do. I'm like, oh.
No, she's looking right at you. No.
Oh no, girl. You do you.
Lord Aemon then says, "Well, I began to take care of you when you were brought wounded and bleeding out into my city, into my village. Then you became my responsibility, and you are under my protection." And they continue to argue for a little while you guys are still talking about your own stuff. So have you come to a conclusion as to what you would like to do?
I think we should go find a place to rest.
If
I need a rest for sure.
if the raid is put off long enough where we can rest and then go in,
I'm down.
we can go. Otherwise, we can just blow the place up.
Okay.
And then we're kind of leaving that up to the Lord as to how long he wants to delay it.
Okay. Well, Aemon, after arguing for a little bit, you then say, like, if you're willing to give us enough time, we want to go in there and get vengeance. He turns to you and says, I will give you 2 days to rest up and then go in.
That's plenty. That's plenty of time.
I only need 2 hours.
Guys, I only need 2 days because I'm gonna go get some nice daggers and some nice weapons. And
He turns to Eric as well and goes, Eric, I want double guards posted here, just in case they try to make a counterattack after taking so many losses. They might think that we will be taking them lightly. I want to make sure this place does not suffer any damage, or I want to make sure they stay here and do not get any further.
make sure to signal us if anything gets out of hand. You know, like the bat signal, but different.
What's a bat signal?
So there's this guy, and I met him in the forest, and he does this thing with the smoke, right? And he flaps his hands, and it looks like wings. It's weird. It's weird, man. Anyways,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a witch. But
Anyways.
could possibly be a witch doctor.
moving on. In the realm of what actually happened, the Lord then says, I understand that you lost a friend, and I'm truly sorry for that. However, you also put the lives of not just my guard, but you put the lives of all of my people at risk. Don't do that again.
Well, he's dead now, so.
Understood.
Well,
He was part of your group. You are all responsible for the actions of the Firestarters.
well, he's dead, so I'm not worried.
Yep.
He owed me money.
99%, it won't happen again.
I'm 99% sure nothing bad will happen.
And I'm
Maybe.
99.5% sure. So I have less percentage than him of not being sure.
All right. Again, I am truly sorry for your loss. He then looks to you and goes, just so you know, I'm not going to be paying you until after you get back from your Pact of Vengeance.
I mean,
There's no point in me paying you before you go into a tunnel that you may well not come out of.
yeah, I would not expect you to indirect.
Yo.
I would not expect you to indirectly pay some goblins if something were to occur.
Don't want to give them the wrong impression, right?
Indirectly, I need some of that for some weapons, yo. Sorry.
And then, as
Why are you going
we say
gangster?
that, I kind of I turn to Viz and kind of tap like the hilt of my dagger, like, and kind of tip my head to the battlefield. I saw you. I mean, little something out there.
And I left it, expecting to be paid.
And the goblins fell back.
I'm running in.
Roll a perception check. 'Cause there are a lot of charred, burned corpses.
13
Nat
plus
13,
6.
dude.
19.
You find where the burnt goblin, the corpse of the now pretty badly burnt goblin shaman was,
Yeah.
and you look for the knife, and unfortunately the knife does not look like it was made of good quality and has mostly incinerated in the fire.
What about like the skull necklace?
What about his?
There are kind of charred bones everywhere, and so it's hard to discern.
So you can just make your own necklace.
It's
Yeah.
hard to discern what was a necklace and what is now charred
Can I do a
remains of
perception
goblin.
Check of like all the weapons in the area, if there's anything around me.
Sure.
Never mind, it's a 7. Plus 6, which is
It's as you look around. Honestly, it's
just
I
not
mean,
the
the
same.
fireball is a very powerful spell, and a lot of the equipment,
black.
either like the spears, are completely worthless because the wooden shaft got completely torched and is burned away. So you just have a spearhead, which is worthless. The swords, the few swords that were there are not like, you take a look at one or two of them and you're just like, okay, these are goblin swords. They're not good quality. Like, I don't want to use these type of thing. And yeah, unfortunately, you don't find anything really usable.
You suck.
alright. The guy that burned everything ruined my life.
Well, I'm sorry for apparently saving not just your lives, but the lives of everyone in the village.
We were fine.
I was only doing, as the Lord asked me to do.
Yeah, you really like
You
that
know.
guy.
What the smart thing to do was.
You really like that guy a lot.
Well, he is the Lord after all.
Yeah. Seems like you follow that guy.
Follow him to the ends of the earth.
Well, that's respected. That's respected. I would never do that.
Well, that's because you don't know
Like
a
you
good
do.
man that's because you don't know a good man when you see one.
I don't trust no one. So, anyways. good
Already
job.
proven
Thank you.
my
You
point.
saved my life. All right. There's nothing there. So I walk out.
All right. With that said, you guys move back. You guys walk back to the town. We'll say that you spend the night recovering.
That's
To
necessary.
keep things interesting, I'm going to say roll your hit dice for how many levels you are. So, like, you know how you would roll the d12 for how many hit points you get, Jesse, per level up?
D12.
So roll that 3 times, and that's how much health you recover. And everyone
What do I
get.
roll?
Which one's
You
D12?
roll a d6 is for rogue. It's whatever
3
dice
times?
you.
You said 3 times?
3 times, and that's how much you heal.
8.
Because you guys
If
are
I max
12.
healed.
then you're max healed.
I'm not max.
So
Nice.
you overheal and you die.
Yeah, seriously, dude. On the first one, I overhealed myself.
I got 20.
It's basically like the fatigue from battle, the
21.
nervousness about or
Well, they're still
the
getting healed. I'm like,
well, it's like from like just like resting natural healing.
yeah.
31. Yeah. Back on top.
And obviously, you recover all your spells while resting.
Back on top.
And I have time to meditate to select new and better ones for
That you do.
upcoming fights.
31 on top.
But so essentially, it's you guys
34.
weren't able to get a full restful night, just due to the fact of, you just saw your friend get decapitated in front of you.
He wasn't my friend, so.
The person who did it got away. Your partner.
Not a partner either.
He was your mercenary partner. So yeah, he was. Get decapitated in front of you. The guy who did it walked away, and
Yeah, we disowned him as soon as
I was so stressed. I didn't
You're
recover 1 HP.
you're stuck on the path on the idea of I want vengeance. I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna rip him limb from limb.
Right now.
And Jube's thoughts about how he wants to kill this guy are particularly gruesome, where it's like, I'm going to rip an arm off and then beat his head in with it and then pull his leg off and then stab him with it so it goes through his chest. Where it's just like, what the heck is wrong with you? And you're just like, so mad right now.
Dude, I just want to throw a dagger through his eyeball. That's it.
It's funny.
Just the one eyeball?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you guys wake up the next morning, feeling mostly prepared. If there's anything that you want to do beforehand, we will pick that up next week.
I was gonna say drink a lot of alcohol or something.
We will be continuing that next week. So we will continue next week with them having just woken up in the morning, ready to embark on a path of vengeance.
Vendetta.
So, with that said, thank you to everybody that was watching. I was actually a little bit nervous / excited to see what would happen, because I think this is the hardest encounter I designed yet for you guys, and I liked how it turned out, even if I rolled crap for the mid portion of that fight. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Next, Refractal, I guess, since you stream, if there's anything you want to announce, feel free to.
I guess the one announcement is I'm taking a break this week, so no streams this week.
Hey! And for me, next stream is going to be next week for Fireside Stories. I'm taking a little bit of time off to do behind the scenes work. Hopefully, maybe, possibly, kind of, sort of, possibly have an emote for you by the end of the month. Fingers crossed. Hashtag wing on a prayer. With that said, I'm also then working on some other behind the scenes stuff, and when we come back, we're going to be playing the game BattleTech, which, if you don't know, is basically you pilot giant mechs and you shoot other giant mechs, and it's fun. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Next stream is going to be on next Tuesday, where we will see how they do on their path for vengeance. So yeah. So there we go. Thank you so much, guys, for watching.